The Zodiac Killer, his symbol of a cross inside of a circle, strikes fear into the people of the Bay Area. The case is one of the biggest mysteries in crime of the U.S. history. He claimed to kill 37 people but was only able to be connected to 5. People today, almost 50 years after the murders took place, still regularly look into the case. The Zodiac Killer killed at the same time the study of serial killers began in the FBI. This is one of the large reasons he was never caught. After pausing the investigation in 2004, the San Francisco PD reopened the investigation in 2007, but have not solved it to this day. The mystery has been thoroughly reported on, speculated on, and documented, having multiple documentaries and theories thrown into circulation. The savage murders and complex ciphers used by the Zodiac have proven to slow down any progress in investigations, but held on to the public eye.
To learn more about the Zodiac Killer, you can look at 3 aspects of him and his crimes. The first is the ciphers he left. The ciphers is a group of symbols that ultimately, when solved as almost a puzzle, leave a message. He would send these to news and police stations, and the first cipher was actually solved by a group of school teachers. And this gave a little bit of information as to his murders, his motives, and what he would do next. Now, the most important cipher was solved in 2020 by a group of detectives who have been working on it for almost 15 years. It says things like, "I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing." Now this can kind of tell us that the Zodiac Killer thought that maybe whoever he killed in this life would serve him in the afterlife. Proven to be really messed up in the head. Now his murders, he was only linked to 5 murders. However, he has 2 survivors from those 5 murders who were stabbed but did not die. However, he wrote in a cipher, Zodiac 37, San Francisco PD 0. Now, he typically targeted couples, whether it was at night or if they were on vacation. Now, the police messages, at those murder scenes, he left the messages to the police either by payphone or etched writing on cars for the police to find. Now, he would use details only the killer would know on these payphones, such as the cause of death, the weapon, time of death, what position the bodies were in, to prove that he truly was the killer. Now, the etched writing on the police cars, or on the cars for the police to find, would include his symbol and messages taunting the police, like "catch me if you can" or something along those lines. Now, we'll get into a lot of different theories about who the Zodiac Killer might be.
The Zodiac Killer case is not solved. However, there are active suspects. One is Lawrence Kane. He was ex-Naval Academy, where he could have learned the ciphers and bomb making and wore similar clothing to what is suspected. Now, he did get in a car accident, which could alter his decision-making, and was hospitalized. Kane also appears in the ciphers, which the Zodiac Killer did say he left his name in the ciphers. Ross Sullivan is a physical match and style match as well. He was tied to a murder by location, as he worked at a library where one of the victims was. He also was bipolar and schizophrenic. Earl Van Bess, suspected by his own son, many priors spent in mental hospital, and he was very interested in ciphers. He was also in the San Francisco Bay Area during the murders. The most probable suspect, however, is Gary Francis Post. Gary Francis Post died in 2018. However, when looking back at his past, you can definitely see a case for him as the Zodiac Killer. He was an outlaw, and his credibility was poor. He owned a .22 caliber pistol, which was the weapon in multiple of the murders. He was former Air Force, so the style matches. He matches the sketch, and he got married, which explains why he stopped murdering. He also had a history of domestic abuse in his marriage. He was in the San Francisco Bay Area, and he was in a mental hospital for much of his life.